Hello and welcome to MFAC Coaching. Thank you so much for being here today. If you have found me through the YouTube collab loop group, I want to say happy spring and thank you so much for being here. If you are just a regular subscriber, there's no just about it. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. This is another loop group video. We are all talking about spring, and I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to talk about spring reading, but I'm going to do it by showing you what I've read thus far in the winter. So hopefully that will interest you, and I encourage you to stick around. So this is my always fully booked a book lover's planner. This I got for Christmas from my mother and father, little Inklings. I just love it. There's a lot in this book. If you are a book lover, this has so many different ways to track. Think about all of the reading that you've done. I love it. I haven't been able to do all of it yet by any means, but oh my gosh, it is so much fun. Just quickly flipping through the stuff that I haven't done so we can get to the stuff that I have. So I don't consider myself much of a seasonal reader per se, but I do really feel I'm kind of an emotional reader, in the sense that I do kind of read by my mood. That said, I'm also in multiple book clubs, so I kind of have to read what the book club says we're going to read. So there's some of that goes into my book reading. And it's just always kind of fun every quarter or so to look back at what I've read, see if there's things that I wish I had read so I can add those in for the next season. As we're getting into the spring from the winter, I think I'm going to get more of those summer feels. So you're going to probably see a bit more romance in my life, but we'll see. This is, I love these beautiful pages that are just built in. Love these little dragons. I don't know if they were at all inspired by Fourth Wing, but oh, love it. So love it so much. And just, oh, I cannot wait for more. Anyways, let's get to what I've filled out. So the way I've started to do this, it's taken me a while to figure out how I'm going to do it, but I kind of write down when I finish a book. So I started by writing down like what I was reading and when I finished. When I started, it was way too much. But you know, that's all right. I wasn't sure, so you can see when I finished things. These are things I was reading. All of that good stuff. And then you'll see that the stickers correspond with my themes in all of my other planners. So, of course, New Year's Eve was the plan for week, or the theme for week 1. So you can see these stickers. Then week 2 was about the 4 seasons. So you've got some winter, some summer, fall, and some spring in here. So I did it all 4 seasons. And you can see I quickly started doing, these are the books I ended that week. And then each week I do the best of the week. Because one of the things that this particular planner has inspired in me, we just passed it. Where was it? There's somewhere in here, like, there we go, Battle of the Books. And so I want to do that one per month, and then we'll go that way. So Wool was my favorite book of the month of January. So let's let me show you that. So I'm just going to flip through. I'm going to talk through what I've done, some of what I've read. And if you have read any of these books and want to hear about them, let me know. If you want to hear about my reading life, let me know. I am a huge proponent of the audiobook. Love an audiobook. I tend to love an audiobook so much that I call physical books audiobook trophies. But I do love my audiobook trophies. And I do read the physical written word, so to speak. I tend to do that on my phone or my Kindle, depending on what device is nearest me, because I like to read in line at stores and groceries and things like that. Okay, so yes, and as you can see, I do read a lot of different genres. I'm going to just keep going and point some stuff out. So in week 2, I was reading House of Sky and Breath. That was Crescent City 2 by Sarah J. Maas, because Crescent City 3 was coming out. So we were doing a reread. I read Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt, which is this gorgeous book. If you haven't read it, it's so sweet. Really, really good book. Written in large part from the perspective of a very smart octopus. Very fun. Wool is the book that Silo, the show on Apple TV, is based on. Oh my gosh. So good. Yeah, just so good. So then week 3 the theme was MLK. I only read one book that week. I should say I only finished one book that week. That book was The Iron Warrior. It was the end of a series by Julia Kagawa. It was fine. She'd written a lot of books. It was like, this is like book 9. It was good. It wasn't great, but it won by default. Then the next week was the Squad Girls week. So here I just went ahead and went with the reading ones. But here you can see I finished a lot of books that week. And so the best one I just said was Foxglove. This is the second book in this series. So it was a sophomore book that I love more than the first. Really enjoying these books by Adeline Grace. Can't wait for the next one, which hopefully I need to look up and put in when that's happening. Then the last week of January, first week of February, so I decided that I would do the best of just what was in January. So that ends with The Brothers Hawthorne, which is the final book in really a series. Like it was book 4, but it came after a trilogy, and now it's going to become a series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, which I really do enjoy. And Coffee and Cups was the theme for the week. And then House of Flame and Shadow, Crescent City 3 came out, and read it super quick. So I did a quick. If you've read that one, let me know what you think. It wasn't my favorite of Sarah J. Maas's. Felt very unsatisfied in some places. Yeah, let me know. So then I wrote down a few of the books that I bought in the month of January, and the top 4, and then the best book of the month was Wool. I read 15 books in the month of January. Pretty good start. Here's some series that I had started in either December or January, and wanted to make sure I hadn't forgotten that I was in the middle of them. So I wrote those down. If they've got a little check mark, it means I have finished them since then. Here's February. Home is where the books are. So then in February, the theme for the first week was Lunar New Year, or dragons. And so I just went with these cherry blossom stickers. These are from Planning in Blue Jeans. And then the best of week 6, which is starting in February. So that was starting here. Where'd it go? Yeah. House of Flame and Shadow, Twisted Hate by Anna Huang, or Early Departures. Early Departures is a book that was chosen by one of the book clubs that I'm in. It's the Get Lit Book Club on Instagram. You can join this if you want, so let me know and I can give you some information about that. It's hosted by Deb of Big Plans with Bug, and it's a delightful, so fun book club. It's actually split into 2 now. It's very amazing. But Early Departures was this kind of, I think it's a YA novel about essentially really friendship and life and death. And it was so good. It's definitely stuck with me. That's one that was like really good when I was done. And then like, couple months have gone by and I can still remember it and still really like it. So that's, saying something. Of course, the next week was the week of Valentine's Day. So you got some Valentine's Day stickers, finished a few more books there, had my favorite. My favorite was Alone with You in the Ether by Olivia Blake. It was about a bipolar counterfeit artist. And then I wrote some sweet things about the other books that I had finished that week. Then the following week, I only finished one book. It was Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. Wrote some things about it. The theme was coffee, so I had just a few coffee stickers. It won by default, but Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare was really good. It was fun to read something by Cassandra Clare that was not a Shadowhunters book. So, I do suggest it. Then the next week of February, I finished 2 books. One is Shady Hollow by Juno Black. This is a cozy mystery, so fun, super cute. It's like a little mystery told from like the perspective of forest animals that are obviously humanized. But I finished the trilogy that started with Wool. That was my favorite book of January. The 3rd book was really good. Brought everything back and just, I still had some questions. But it's going to sit with me. And if you have read Dust, if you've read this trilogy, please, please, please reach out to me. Let me know. I want to talk to you about the ending. And of course, February is a shorter month. Bought some books. Only read 9 books in February, but those are the top 4. Dust, the 3rd book, was my favorite book, so I'll have to add that to this tracker. So I'll go ahead and do that now. Even though it seems silly that my favorite books would be book 1 and then book 3. But, nothing wrong with that other than the 1st book and the 3rd book are in competition. So we'll see. All right. Last month was March in my bookish era. Love that. All right, so week 9, of course, continued. So the theme was technically like forests, enchanted forest fairies. But then the following week, the theme was butterflies and dragonflies. So I just threw some dragonflies on here and decided that Requiem was really good, but the previous week 9 was still the winner. It was the 3rd book. Requiem was the 3rd book in the Delirium trilogies. Is an older trilogy by Lauren Oliver. It's a very sweet. Sweet's not quite the right word. But really, like, what happened in book 3 wasn't that great. But the very ending of it had this beautiful soliloquy by the author. Within the book, so it wasn't like an afterthought or anything, but really, I don't know. It was just about love and hope, diversity and strength, so it was really beautiful. So I loved that. Then in week 10, I only finished one book. I finished The Memory of Babel, which is book 3 of the Mirror Visitor Quartet. So it was a good one. This one has the slowest of slow burns. I'm talking like it is book 3 before you get your two main characters, to both say that they love each other to each other. Oh, it was killing me. But this series is like, it's just big in ideas. Very well written. It is translated. I think it was originally written in French. And you can kind of tell that, but I really enjoyed it. I have finished the whole series by now. Really loved it. The next week I finished 4 books. So here, when I originally went through, I decided that my favorite book of the week had been a reread. So I finished Bride by Ali Hazelwood, which I really enjoy, but it inspired me to reread The Love Hypothesis, which I did in like a day, because I love The Love Hypothesis. Oh, it's just so good. And so I had said that was my favorite. And then I went back like at the end of the month and was like, okay, rereads cannot be the favorite. So then I chose a new favorite. And my new favorite of the week was The Fragile Threads of Power by V.E. Schwab. And this one is the newest book in, it's a standalone, well, the book is not a standalone. It's the first book in a new series, or at least trilogy, I think, by V.E. Schwab, but it is connected to the Darker Shades of Magic trilogy. So it's fun because you're like back in that world, but time has gone by. The author has been cognizant of that. Like V.E. Schwab, I think, is quite amazing as an author. I think she calls herself like the fantasy writer for people who don't think they like fantasy. So if that's you, that might be something to look into. Though the Invisible Life of Addie LaRue would be the book I'd suggest for that, and not this one. That said, so good. And then I started a new trilogy. I started A Curse So Dark and Lonely, the Cursebreaker trilogy by Bridget Kemmer. It's good. This one is a take off of Beauty and the Beast. So it's an enjoyable one. It was a little slow in the middle though, so just be aware of that. And of course, this is the week of St. Patrick's Day, so you've got the St. Patrick's Day greens on there. The next week I only finished one book. That does happen some weeks. This book was called Her Dark Wings by Melinda Salisbury. So good. It's a Persephone myth, so it's Greek gods and goddesses, but really, YA story, woman of a teen whose best friend and boyfriend betray her. She deals with her anger, her frustration, finding a new place, new friends, and a new love. So it was, I wasn't sure that I was going to love it, and I really did enjoy that book a lot. The theme for this week was actually Harry Potter, but I had run out of Harry Potter stickers, or I didn't have them with me when I was decorating. So I just went with book and cozy stickers. These are all by designer Chameleon. Then in the final week, really, of March, I finished 5 books. And again, I did my best. My favorite, the best of the week was a reread. So then I went back and chose a different book. You'll see this week was hard. Sometimes the weeks are so hard to choose a favorite, because God Killer by Hannah Kaner, so good. What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez, also really good. I think I'm just like dying for the next book. This is, for me, was kind of like it's like an Indiana Jones feel, but the main character is a female teenager. So obviously going to have a little different feel to it. But I think like it just had an ending that's like so intriguing, and I need the next book to know what's going on. And so I think maybe that's why, because otherwise God Killer was so good. And the next book in the God Killer series is out, so it's got that going for it. But What the River Knows, I just really enjoyed that like Indiana Jones feel. So then you can see I have more than 4 books here because I had the Love Hypothesis and the Selection, which I took out and then added 2 others. But the winner of the month was The Fragile Threads of Power by V.E. Schwab. So we'll go ahead and add that here really quick. Then I haven't done everything for the month of April yet. Haven't decorated and all that good stuff. But it's a good day for a good book. That's always the truth. So I need to still decorate and decide my favorites, but I have just written down what I have read so far. So I read The Selection is the first book. The Elite is number 2. The One is number 3 by Kira Cass. That was a reread. I love those books. If you have read them, let me know. If you haven't, if you like a good YA trilogy, a little bit of dystopian in there, definitely a fun one. The Women by Kristen Hanna is amazing. I loved it. I cried at the end. I'm so emotional about it, but so good. The Air by Kira Cass is it's a duology that comes after the Selection trilogy. Take it or leave it. But then I finished the Bridget Kimmer series. You've got finished the Kira Cass series. I read The Teacher by Frida McFadden. This was a book club read, as actually was The Women. This is a book club that we do I co-host on Facebook. So if you're interested, let me know. We'd love to have you join us there. Read 1,000 Heartbeats by Kira Cass. This is a standalone. I really actually enjoyed it. These are 2 cinnamon rolls who find each other and fall in love, and I just love it. And then I read Legendborn by Tracy Dion. Oh my gosh. This is so good. I cannot wait to read the next book. This one I suggest to everyone. So good. It is, magical YA. So there's a lot of magic. It's almost like magic meets American history, so that we actually deal with issues of slavery and class as it stands in the U.S. So good. And then I read Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry, and Keeping You a Secret by Julie Ann Peters. These are 2 very different books. Legend and Lattes is another cozy fantasy. Keeping You a Secret was kind of a YA coming out story. Really good though. And that brings us to where we are today. I need to write out all the books I got for my bookish haul. There's like 13 or so books that I need to write down here from the San Diego book crawl that I haven't read, and we'll need to total up the number of books. But there is a little quarterly review here. So the first quarter I had read 36 my goal is always 100 books a year. I usually read more than that. So I read 123 books, ironically, both in the last 2 years. So don't know how that happens, but because it's such a random number. But, that trilogy I am just obsessed with it. So interesting what the author has done, like everything you think you know, you don't quite know. yeah, I'm obsessed. So it'll be really fun to see what I read for spring. We've got April, May, and June before there'll be another quarterly review, I assume, at least. Yep. And then you're officially into the summer, and summer reads for me are always beach reads, something quick. I like a good mystery in the summer. Not so much a cozy mystery, but like a good, like deep, get into it, psychological thriller mystery. I think like there's more light during the day, so I'm not as scared of things. I don't know. But it's just, yeah, it's something I tend to gravitate towards. And then right now, what I'm reading is the Atlas 6 trilogy by Olivia Blake, where I'm rereading, I just finished Atlas 6. I'm reading the Atlas Paradox, I think is book 2, and then the Atlas Complex, I think is the book 3. It's just come out recently, so we will read that afterwards. These are very psychological books, very fun books for sure. And this is definitely me. All I want to do is read. And I love that I can do audiobooks because then I can read while I plan. And that is just fantastic. So that's my spring update, really my winter update for my spring reading for the topic of spring for this loop group. Thank you so much for being here with me today. It is such a pleasure to speak with you, to talk to you about books. It's so much fun for me, so I hope this was fun for you. And then, yeah, hopefully you enjoyed just seeing how I add just a few little things of sparkle, little pictures on each page so that it corresponds with all of my other planners. Yeah, that's it. All right. Have a great week. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to look below, click on the next video, follow the whole loop. It's a week's worth of videos to watch for sure. Lots of inspiration for spring, and ways to avoid spring cleaning. How about that? All right. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye.